Most of us think being poor is just a money problem. But today, we're going to dive into a much more uncomfortable truth. Your biggest financial enemy isn't the economy, it isn't your boss. It's actually the wiring inside your own head.
So just think about it for a second. When you look at your finances and things aren't going right, what's the first thing you blame? What's the number one obstacle that you feel is standing between you and financial freedom? Is it inflation? The rising cost of everything? Yeah, that's definitely a challenge, but believe it or not, it's not the main villain in our story today.
Okay, well, what about your salary? That classic feeling of, I just don't make enough money. And look, a bigger paycheck always helps, for sure. But it's usually not the root of the problem.
Nope. The real enemy, the one secretly pulling the strings behind the scenes on all your financial decisions, is your own brain. Yeah, you heard me. It's secretly wired to keep you poor, and we're about to break down exactly how it does it.
Let's start with a scenario that I'm sure is going to feel very, very familiar. We'll call it the Paycheck Disappearing Act, and for a lot of us, it happens every single month.
You know the feeling. The money finally hits your account. You feel a surge of responsibility, maybe even a little optimism. You make that promise to yourself. Okay, this time is going to be different. This time, I'm going to manage my money right. I'm actually going to save.
But then, the cycle kicks in. You get the money, you have the best of intentions, but then there's that one little harmless purchase. And then maybe another one. And before you even know what happened, you look at your account and the money is just gone. It feels like some kind of dark magic, but it's not. It's a totally predictable pattern. Sound familiar?
Now, here's the crucial thing to understand. We always beat ourselves up about this. We think it's a personal failure, a lack of discipline, but it's not. It's a predictable, repeatable pattern that's rooted in the very basics of money psychology.
So let's pull back the curtain and look at the actual science behind this feeling. It all comes down to a really powerful system in your brain that we'll call the dopamine spending trap.
See, your brain runs on a chemical called dopamine. You can just think of it as the feel-good chemical. When you do something that your brain enjoys, it gives you a little hit of dopamine. It feels good, and it makes you want to do that thing again.
Now, here's where things get wild when it comes to money. When you spend money, buy that new thing you wanted, you get an instant shot of dopamine. Your brain loves it. It feels great. But what happens when you save money? Well, not much. There's no immediate reward. It's all about delayed gratification. So to your brain, spending is exciting, and saving is just boring.
And this chemical reaction explains so much, doesn't it? It's why spending feels so easy, so satisfying in the moment. It's also why it can become addictive. Your brain is literally just chasing that next feel-good chemical hit.
And here's the kicker. The entire modern economy is designed to trigger that dopamine release and get you to spend right now. Think about it. Ads everywhere, addictive online shopping, those flashy discount signs, and especially those easy one-click payments. They're all designed to make that impulse as frictionless as possible.
So, knowing all this, we can see that every time we get paid, we're really standing at a fork in the road. We're faced with a choice between two very different paths that lead to dramatically different places.
Let's make it real. Imagine two people, and to keep it simple, let's say they both get the exact same amount of money, 1,000 GHS. What they do next is what changes absolutely everything.
And this right here shows you the results just 10 years later. Look at that chart. The spender who chased that immediate dopamine hit has almost nothing to show for it. But the investor, the one who fought that impulse, their wealth didn't just grow, it compounded, it grew exponentially. The difference is absolutely staggering. So how does that massive growth actually happen? Well, the investor's journey isn't exciting at first. It's just like planting a seed. For years, you might not see very much happening on the surface, but over time, that small, consistent action compounds and it grows into something huge, something that eventually produces its own fruit. It's a slow burn, and it definitely requires patience.
And this all brings us to the final and most important takeaway. Building wealth isn't just about spreadsheets and budgets. It's about mastering your own internal psychology.
The difference between staying poor and building wealth, it rarely comes down to how smart you are, or even how much you make. It all boils down to one simple question. Can you control your impulses? Can you train your brain to want a bigger reward later instead of a small one right now? And that leads us to this powerful idea. I want you to really think about this. If you don't control your brain will control your money. You can work your entire life, but if your impulses are in the driver's seat, you'll never truly get ahead. So, I'll leave you with one final question to think about.
When it comes to your finances, when you look at your habits, your impulses, and your decisions, ask yourself, who is really in charge of your wallet?